Welcome back to 2026 Root to Rising podcast. I'm very excited to be here for the first interview for this year, 2026, Rory. And I hope everyone enjoyed their holidays and was able to enjoy it however with whomever they wanted. We are back in 2026 and we're excited to continue to create this platform to have women share their stories, to allow other women to hear their stories, to learn the confidence, learn knowledge, and hopefully able to have more purpose in their lives. So with that, I'm going to throw it over to Rory, our first guest. And Rory, as we always start out, tell us a little bit about your personal brand and a little bit about your background and yourself.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you, Christine. I'm genuinely this is not only the highlight of my day, this is something that I hope you feel really proud of that you're doing. And I think more people should do more things that light them up and inspire others. So I'm all for this, of course. So, little bit about me. I am somebody who is super excited to figure out where I'm going. And I know that's kind of vague and I feel like not really how people explain themselves, but I feel this sense of trust in myself where I'm excited to find my roots in who I am and accept that looks different than probably what I thought it was before. So I can give a little bit of background, maybe more of explanation of me too. So I'm from Michigan, born and raised, Midwest gal. I come from a extremely loving, warm family. And I really see as I've gotten older, how special that is and kind of rare because you really are the product of your environment and how you were when you were little really can shape how you are as an adult. So that's kind of where I became rooted, I guess. And from there, I kind of had a life that was super great and laid out for me. And I kind of followed every step that probably a woman thinks that they should follow, right? Yeah. I went to college. I went to Michigan State. I come from a family they went to Michigan, so I was the black sheep in the family. But I went to Michigan State, did into all the things college had to offer, loved every minute of it, did the sorority thing, leaned into that, loved it. But feel like that was because, I remember actively thinking in high school that you go to college and you join Greek life, you join a sorority, and that's kind of where it starts. And not that there's anything wrong with it. I mean, I did it myself, but at the time, I did not think there were other options of things to do. I just was, doing what people told me to do and what I thought you should do. So that kind of theme of should do's, I think, has followed me for a very long time. And same kind of thing, graduated from school. I studied advertising at Michigan State with a minor in PR and, then got a job, moved to Chicago right away, a job in an advertising agency. It was the agency for McDonald's at the time. So it was a very large account. Did what I thought you should do in the advertising world of really grinding and, burning yourself out, but absorbing it all and thinking that was, this is just the way life is. This is what you do. And went to another agency, did the same kind of thing for another account for a longer time, 4 or 5 years, and feel like it was COVID that I picked my head up and realized that I kind of had a choice in what I wanted to do and didn't have to just do things because I thought you should be doing them and doing them really well. So I kind of take COVID as the biggest blessing in my life, which, there's many reasons it wasn't, but a big reason for me it was that it gave me the chance to pause and really listen to myself. And I've been somebody who, from the time I was little, I'm a super active, I love movement. I love moving my body. I love connecting my mind with my body. I love everything wellness related is very something that I've leaned into since I was little. My mom introduced me to yoga when I was little, in elementary school, and kind of just that trajectory started for me. So during COVID is when I kind of realized hey, maybe I could, align my 9 to 5 with what I actually am interested in. And those two things can blend very well together and they don't have to be so separated. And I kind of went down this path of I'm now a health coach. I'm a yoga instructor. I'm a Lagree instructor, and just kind of have been exploring that path more while still having a separate career at the moment. So now I've left advertising within the last 2 years. I moved into a job. It's complicated to explain, but it's luxury residential technology
Hmm.
where I'm selling kind of like smart lighting systems in people's homes and motorized window treatments where you push a button and the shades go up and down and things just, they're integrated with the technology in these people's homes. Something that I had no idea existed when I was in college, like no clue, but kind of found my way there. And, I'm seeing what I can learn from this world now and kind of how it could maybe apply to what I want to do long term in the wellness world. And bottom line is I'm just kind of figuring it out and I'm leaning into like trusting myself that I can do that.
Yeah. No, that's a great story, and thanks for sharing all that. Just a quick question. How
Yeah.
does someone go from advertising to luxury lighting sales? I've never even heard of it. I thought you were going to tell
Yeah.
me you work for a wellness company and you do all these things.
Yeah. Great question. Because it's not a normal path. And what I've learned from college is that there's no such thing as a
Yes,
normal path. Like many
agreed.
people find, different ways to where they're going. And so funny enough, I had talked to, it's actually now it's my college friend's husband. So I've known him since I kind of moved to Chicago. And we were talking one day and he's been working for this company for the last like 10 years. But he's just kind of been, he's known at the time when I talked to him and I was in advertising, he knew I wasn't like my happiest self there. I didn't want to do it long term. And he was like, hey, have you ever like learned about do you know about this world? Like, I feel like this is something that you would actually like and really excel in.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. So he kind of explained it to me. And kind of what I do is I'm the sales, I'm the upfront working with the clients and kind of gathering what they want their dream home to
Got it.
be and kind of look like and feel like. And then I gather all that and kind of help them understand what that looks like. And then we kind of move it into our design world and all the much smarter people take it from there to actually implement it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so main thing is that I found it through a connection, which
Yep.
honestly, looking at all of my jobs since college, every job I've had has come from a relationship with somebody, which is really, I always heard that in college, but I didn't
Yep.
see how that could actually happen. And it's worked like
It's
clockwork every
real.
time.
Yeah, I
Yep,
always say to people, it's not what you know, it's who you know, and network,
totally.
network, network. You never know who you're going
Totally.
to meet and where the next opportunity can be. So that's an interesting story. And
Yeah.
I bet you now, it sounds like in this current job, you have more of, let's call it time or work-life balance to be able to
Mm.
invest in the yoga and the wellness coach, the other, body
Yeah.
to movement activities. Is that kind of one of the reasons why you made that transition?
It was. I think my initial reason was it goes back to that same thing of in COVID, I picked my head up and I felt like I was living in two different worlds,
Yep.
especially in someone who, it's very ironic that I work for the McDonald's account
Yeah.
now because that is so the opposite of what I'm
Of what you
about.
believe in, right?
Yeah. But so looking at that and realizing you could actually more so align them. And now I would say it kind of comes in different ways. This job I think is much more demanding than I realized.
Mm,
And it kind of is what you make of it. And
yep.
that's, beautiful and empowering and very cool in and of itself. So I would say, yeah, I probably had compared to the advertising world, more of just like control over what I
Yep.
want to put my time towards.
Yep. So when you were in college, why did you want to go into advertising and why did you choose that as your major area of focus?
It's funny. I have no idea. It's so funny. I've thought about that now because I think it goes back to that should
Yep.
mentality of, I remember thinking when I was going into college, like I didn't know what I even wanted to study. And I wasn't ever what do they call it? The undecided program,
Yeah.
when you don't have to decide yet. So I went in with advertising, I think because I thought like, oh, this is what a social person who knows how to connect with people and likes that, that's where they can excel. You kind of see that in
Yep.
movies and TV shows and I've heard it from other people growing up that were around me in my circles and stuff. So I think that's kind of where it pointed me. But if you were to ask me if I had any like passion for advertising. No, not at all. It was just because it was a route. And I remember also thinking at the time in college, I wish I took more of a deeper look and connection with my classes and like what I wanted to learn about rather than what I wanted to get a degree in. Because I think people think of those very separately of like, college is such an amazing thing. The fact that you get to be, society encourages you to go 4 years and not have a job and really focus on learning. Like, that's such an amazing thing, but I think it gets kind of translated into, you just have a track of what do I want a degree in? Not that you even really understand what that means at the time. You're 18 years old. And then what do I want that job to look like? It's like, again, you don't know because you're 18 years old. And you should just be focusing on like, what do I want to learn and what excites me? What is like interesting to me, because I think if I went that route, I would have had such a different path in college and who knows where I'd be, but it probably would look kind of different.
And it goes back to, I mean, you're right. People are 16, 17, 18 years old, and you're expected to, when you're
Oh my
enrolling into
God.
college, know what college you're going to and why, and what's
Yeah.
the best college for that degree. And then all they do is focus on that major and those classes, and you're
Mm-hmm.
going on what you've seen in your life or what you've heard,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't necessarily
Mm-hmm.
have any front row or real time experience of what that job or looks like or that career looks
Yeah.
like. And so that's a really good point, is to take classes throughout college. And if you have an interest in something, because I always go back to, you have to do something every day in your career, your job, that motivates you in some way, shape, or
Mm-hmm.
form. You have to pull that theme through. So if you take, a couple classes that interest you, get enough information to maybe see if there's a career opportunity within that class. But
Mm-hmm.
I think you have 2 years, kind of your freshman and sophomore year, to take a lot of general ed courses, and maybe that's something you could do. I remember when I was in college, I loved sociology, but I loved journalism. And then I loved business. And I went to my
Mm-hmm.
sociology professor and I said, I am so spread all over the place. It was my freshman or sophomore year. I have no idea. I want to do all three.
Yeah.
And she said to me, she goes, you can still do all three, but you got to pick
Mm-hmm.
one, to
Mm-hmm.
have a career with. So I kind of kept that philosophy, and you focus on one, and you have to always make time for the rest of your motivators in your life, like you
Right.
do with the whole, mind body connection, being yoga,
Mm-hmm.
wellness coach. So I think that's important for
Mm-hmm.
people to know when you go to college. Yes, you pick one career, but that's not all of it. There's a lot
Yeah.
more you can fulfill your life with to help make sure you have a holistic happiness.
Yeah,
Um,
and I also I don't know if you've had any like it'd be really interesting to get this kind of perspective from someone who's went fully into the entrepreneurial route because I
mhm,
feel like especially in college that is I don't remember that ever being an
mm-mm,
option or encouraged. I remember hearing about it as my dad was an entrepreneur and he had a amazing career but it still had this, surrounding sentiment of like that's risky. Maybe you
mhm,
shouldn't do that. Don't trust
mhm,
yourself. You don't know. And I kind of wish that was something that they highlighted in college too of like, it's okay if you don't fit into any of these buckets, like
right,
find what like lights you up and what actually interests you. And like you can also make your own job. Like there's so many jobs in the world that nowadays you're
right,
like, I had no idea that was a job.
right, right.
So you can kind of make your own path.
Yeah, and I think nowadays some people aren't even going to college. People are just
Yeah.
using technology to teach themselves. If it's social
Mm-hmm.
media or, ChatGPT or editing, there's so much that people are self-teaching themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know, college isn't that big of a focus, and maybe it's a change in the evolution of our technology, or people
Yeah.
having more of a take a risk
Yeah.
mentality. And I want to go back to
Mhm.
what you said, instead of the should have, or the should have route.
Mhm.
And I hear a little bit of that, and I think I don't know if it's a generational thing or if it's a
Mhm.
demographic thing, or your culture and society helps you with that. But I agree with you. There was always the should have path. Like, it's a
Yeah.
checklist, and you go to high school, you
Yeah.
find a college, you have it. Yeah, you check, 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 right? And then
Mhm.
before you know it, you have this checklist done, and then you're sitting there and you're like, oh crap, but I'm still not, like, feel like I'm missing something, or I'm not totally fulfilled. So
Yeah.
what am I missing? And it sounds like
Right.
that's where you are. But let's go
Mm.
back and why do you think you were on the should have path? Like what do you think around you, people around you, things around you, your environment, what caused you to be on that path?
I think a lot of reinforcement. I think from multiple different areas of my life, whether they lovingly knew that they were doing it or not. I think I I thought the connection between success as a broad concept was dependent on people liking me, people approving of me, people admiring me, right? All this external stuff that was kind of guiding me towards like, you're doing good. You're keep going, right?
Yep.
And I think that was maybe all done, with a lot of well intent, but I think women, especially, I think have this, I don't know if it's a desire to please other people or it's just, I do think it's kind of innate. I think it's like in our biology of like, you're always kind of on alert of how you're being perceived and what people think of you. And all of that kind of comes down to like figuring out if you're safe or not, right? It's
Mhm.
like you're constantly kind of scanning your surroundings and like wanting to make sure that other people like you and people see you as, somebody that they want to be around and all of these things, but it kind of clouds your voice that's actually in you wanting to speak up louder and say, that's okay if they don't like me. You could go this way. And I don't think that's something that's championed enough, I guess, especially
Yeah,
for
yeah,
women.
I agree, and I think it's hopefully it's getting better as
Mhm.
the generation that's in college now, maybe they're feeling it and seeing it differently because there
Yeah.
are champions, like us that support that.
Mhm.
But what would you tell a college student now that let's say, a female that was in the should
Mhm.
have path and they're checking the list, but they are terrified because they know if
Mm.
they go off the should have path
Mm.
they don't know how, and they don't know what's next if they were to
Yeah.
do that. Like, a lot of people don't know that there's an escape plan or an
Mhm.
outlet, and they're very fearful of the uncertainty that you might have if you
Yeah.
go off that path, right? A lot of it, to your point, is
Yeah.
said you feel safe, you feel secure. Yeah, that's great, but at the end of that, you're still not gonna find your true happiness. So if you
Totally.
were to go back in time, either telling yourself or someone right now in college going down the should have path, what would you tell them to do differently to maybe have exposure to, more different things to allow them to make different decisions?
I think first I would validate that, yeah, it is scary. It is like a risky thing to go this way when everyone's trying to get you to go this way, right? It's so acknowledging, ooh, I'm being brave right now and examining this further, right? Because that's like, I feel people don't even have an awareness that that is a step one
Yep,
of acknowledging, like, wow, what I'm doing is hard right now. And this could go either way, right?
yep,
And then after that, I think I would have, for myself, I think once I paused and realized that I had a choice, I would start asking myself questions of, what are you interested in? And I'd say whatever I'd say. And probably a part of me would speak up and say, well, other people don't really like that. And other people, that's not really that common. And then I would ask that, okay, well, what's the worst that's going to happen if you still do that anyway? Right. It's like constantly having this like conversation with yourself because I think a lot of what gets pushed under the rug, so to
yep,
speak, of inside your body, right? Is all these emotions that are trying to like speak to you and trying to get you to listen to them and all these red flags popping up if something doesn't feel right and you're not allowing them to breathe and speak
yep.
and voice themselves, right? So it's like getting super, super quiet and clear with, okay, maybe something's off right now. Let's like examine that. And also, I think having patience that it's okay to not figure that out right away. I think I am actively always trying to develop more patience for myself, but I think we're so used to like this concept of we need to know immediately what we should be doing and what's going to get us to success quick enough. And I think it takes a lot more patience than is talked about. And that patience can look like an hour a day, 5 years, 3 months. Like it kind of is your own path that you have to be willing to walk down with yourself.
Yeah. No, that's an important point. And then do you think it's because the should have path is for people because they want to feel safe? Do you think it's they
Mm.
want to please? Do you think they want to have a perfect image? They don't want to take the risk? Kind of what's the why do you think that people
Oh,
are choosing that? Like, is I'm trying to get to is it so uncomfortable to not know the answer and to not fit in a box that that comfortability is just enough to push people down the should have path? I'm just so I guess maybe a bit why?
yeah.
Why do people follow the should have path?
I think all of those reasons. I think it's a culmination of everything you just said. Of you're feeling so much pressure to fit into some box because other people are doing it, and you feel it's almost okay. I can speak for me. At the time, I felt like my biggest reason why was I wanted people to like me. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to and I think all of that is formed because of you want to connect with people, right? So I don't think the intention is necessarily a bad one. I just think it steers you down this, sideway road where it gets a little lost of why you're even doing it in the first place. That can be a beautiful thing because you want to connect to people and bond with them.
Yeah.
But it doesn't need to, derail you into becoming who you think they want you to be.
Yep. Now that's important, and to remind everyone, I mean, you're the only person that's gonna make you happy. Everyone's
Totally. You're the only
your own
person you're
worst.
going to be with. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, so it's like, stop making other people happy, and you're living
Yes.
with yourself the rest of your life, so figure
Right.
out what you wanna do and who you wanna
Yeah.
be.
And hear your own voice. Like it's
Yep.
trying to talk to you.
Yes.
You just have to
Listen.
get
Listen
quiet and
to it.
listen.
That's
Yeah.
a good point. So when
Yeah.
during COVID, why at that time was there the pause happened? What about that pause made you reflect to have a career transition? Or what were the reflections when you paused, what, new thoughts did you have and how did that pause what changes did you make in your life during that time when you started asking yourself those questions?
I think I had a lot more time and space to breathe and not be so pulled in all these different people pleasing directions because you were forced to, be by yourself. I went back and lived with my parents for what I thought was a weekend and turned into 3-4 months pretty quickly because I got trapped back in Michigan. I think at that time it was a lot of quiet time for me to actually hear myself and allow those voices. I didn't know it at the time, but allow those voices, those little red flags, trying to pop up. They finally had enough quiet space where I could start to hear
Mhm.
that, right? I also think, COVID was a tricky time because you were kind of at the mercy of who you were stuck with at the time. But me being stuck with my parents who, from the time I can remember and I was little, it was like they always instilled a mentality in me that I can do whatever I want with this world, with myself. I can be whoever I want. I can become whoever I want, right? So I feel lucky enough that I was surrounded by my mom and dad who could, it's hard being in your own head all the time, right?
Mhm.
You kind of need to rely on some external voices that you trust and that know you best and can help guide you to see what's so special about you through their eyes. So I think having a mixture of a safe community, as my parents, but community to lean on to help pick yourself up out of your own head to realize oh yeah, wait, I can be special. I can do what I want with my life. I guess I don't have to stay on this path,
Yeah.
right?
It's
Oh yeah.
interesting that your parents were supportive to do whatever you wanted, but you still went down the should
Oh
have
my
path,
God, yeah. Which
right?
is so bizarre.
Right.
And even now, so now that, I'm in this wellness world now and they are the biggest advocates for me
Ugh,
doing that. And I'm oh, it's so funny how your mind starts to I think it thinks it's protecting you from things, but it's kind of clouding. My parents never said they didn't want me to do this. I was the only one that was standing in my way,
right.
right?
It's your own fault.
Yeah, no, it fully is. It's and then it's so cool because then you realize once you realize that, you're oh, I've done this to myself. I put myself here. I have the ability to actually change it and I
Yep.
can do something with it because I got myself here. It's you have agency fully over your own
Yeah.
life and your choices.
So what did you do differently? So you got the new job and then you invested more in wellness. So what changes did
Mhm.
you make to be more intentional, to listen to your voices? You started off the podcast talking about how you're learning to, find yourself, you're learning how to
Mhm.
invest in yourself. So what changes did you make during that time to focus more on, finding out who Rory wants to be?
I think it's a mixture of things, but I think I put myself in environments that I actually wanted to be in. I think a lot of that goes back to the shoulds of, especially when you're, after college and you move to a city, you get pulled into a lot of things that other people are wanting to do, going out and staying up late, and all those things are fun and amazing, and I'm not going to pretend like I don't still do them, but now at least I have a better intention of why I want to do them and who I want to do them with. So I think
Yep.
it's like surrounding yourself with people that you want to be around and who pull that out of you. And also having like a new shift in mindset of like actually just trusting and listening to yourself rather than, again, thinking, I should go do this. I should listen to this person. It's like I have now a clear, I think, radar on what I want to do versus what I don't want to do. Yeah. Did that answer your
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
question?
And so did
Uh,
that clear radar come with just the time that you had during COVID to think and listen, or was that like over the past few years an evolution to get to that point? Because you're making it sound really
hmm,
easy, and so I want to make sure
totally.
listeners
Totally.
understand, if they're questioning their path,
Yeah.
and that there's probably not a time limit you put on it. Like to your point, it
Yeah.
takes 1 day, 1 year, 10 years. But like, how
Mm,
does that evolution continue? And is it constant or is it just kind of like when the light
mm.
bulb goes off, you're good?
Oh my God, it's constant, daily, minutely. I think now to kind of answer your question, I think I've let my ego go a lot, and I'm relying on a lot more tools, resources, people than I ever have before. And that's a really hard thing to do. I think that is a very vulnerable thing to
Yep.
do, to admit like, hey, I don't know where I'm going. I need help. I feel underwater, whatever it is. But then to actually take steps towards whether that's therapy, whether that's getting more time outside, connecting with people more. It's like putting yourself in situations that probably make you a little uncomfortable at first, but seeing that I can do it, it's going to help me, and trusting in that.
Yep. No, agree 100%. And being uncomfortable, people have to be okay with being uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're doing something wrong or you don't know the
Mhm.
answer. Being uncomfortable is how you change and grow. So the more
Totally.
that people accept being uncomfortable, I think the more you allow growth for yourself and not always have to be
Mhm.
perfect and fit in this perfect box or the perfect
Mhm.
path to your point earlier.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Of course, of course. No
I
one's
just
ever done that on the podcast, so this is fun. I love it.
Well, yay, good. Well, I just wonder of, you know, someone like yourself who you've gone through your own path. It's, probably been multiple different ways you got to where you're going and a lot of trial and error and frustration, I'm sure. But how, like now, present day Christine, do you feel solid with who you are, what
Mm.
you're doing? You have full trust in that. Like I'm selfishly asking for, I'm
Yeah,
just about 30, and I feel like the last 10 years have been going down this road, and it is a daily, minutely, hourly, thing that I have to get myself through.
yep.
But what does it kind of look like when you get to the next stage of like, you seem so solid in your choices, in your path, and you? Is that something that you feel like just happens over time? Or is there something else, like a cheat code you can give the rest of us to get us there maybe a little quicker?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I probably about 10 years ago, I realized what my motivators were.
Mm.
And I always was, and I still am, I motivated by learning new things and a challenge every single day. When I know the answer to something, even in my job, I get bored pretty quickly. So
Mm.
I know I constantly, or even if it's a new workout, like I'll do something
Mhm.
different, right? Because once I know how to do something, I become just kind of like I plateau and I know daily I have to
Mm.
do something that challenges me or learn something new. So that's my motivator. And I
And is
would say
that with the like, because you just wanna keep growing? Or kinda why?
there's probably 2 reasons, and everyone's different. Like, everyone's motivators are different, by the way. So, I think
Mhm.
there's 2 reasons. 1, I feel like I want to learn as much as I can and do as much
Mm.
as I can. I just have
Mhm.
this I feel like I'm capable, and have this conquer the world feeling. I don't know why,
Yeah.
because there's so much opportunity out there. I
Yeah.
also believe that there's so many I have passion to be a strong female mentor and leader for
Mhm.
women. And I have this just underlying subconscious goal for all women to do good and to prove things
Mm.
for women, but also show them an example and to be a mentor to them. So that's kind of one reason. Two is I think that I just the passion for learning and just having this not competitiveness, but just this
Mm.
eagerness and willingness to learn. I learned and I've always been like that. So I've taken jobs and I'll tell you what, I've been uncomfortable in my life, but my competitiveness and my eagerness to continue to grow overcame and overshadowed my feeling of being uncomfortable.
Mm.
So it was more important to me to continue to grow than me being embarrassed or uncomfortable. So I would take jobs. I
Wow.
mean, my first jobs in healthcare in the trade industry, I mean, it was 99% men, and I would be sitting in a room, 20 men and me, and was I
Mhm.
uncomfortable? 100%. But
Mhm.
I was willing to be uncomfortable in order to grow. So I quickly know that growing and learning are my motivators. I love being a mentor and a coach, which is kind of my second
Mhm.
motivator. And I love to innovate. That's my third motivator. So every job that I take in my career, and by the way, I haven't applied for a job in my last 4 jobs. I've been recruited by that company or that leader. To your point
That's
earlier
awesome.
about your network, right? Keep your networks strong and tight.
Yeah.
So I continue to challenge myself. I could never do the same job for like the rest of my life. I will always
Mm.
want to learn more and push. So I am okay. I think 10 years ago, I was really early where I am okay being uncomfortable and I push my
Yeah.
team to be uncomfortable. I push my kids to be uncomfortable because otherwise you become compliant and it's real easy in this day and age to become compliant. So to answer your question, I
Yeah.
do feel solid where I am today. I think
Mhm.
what keeps me up at night is I'm 51 and I want to do so
Mhm.
much more. And I
Yeah.
feel like time is going so fast. Like this podcast, I've wanted to
Mm.
do it for years, right? And it's just
Mhm.
like, gosh, if I'm not going to do it now, when am I going to do it? And there's so much I feel
Totally.
like I want to do, and there's just not enough time in the day. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think honestly
That's so
to
cool.
go back to your question, I think once you're okay with being who you are, being uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and I don't your point, I don't care if people like me or not. Like I go and
Mhm.
invest where people give me energy. People should invest where they
Mhm.
get energy. You be respectful
Mhm.
to everyone, but you don't have to be liked
Mhm.
by everyone. That's
Yeah.
impossible, right? So
Yeah.
I think once you get okay with all of that, to
Yeah.
kind of where you're at and you're okay with being uncomfortable, you know your motivator is what makes you happy. I
Mhm.
too, I need the movement, like the exercise, the
Mhm.
mind body connection, the outdoors. And so once you kind of have your 3, 4, 5, let's keep it really simple, everything kind of stems from that. Um,
I love that. Thank you so much for
yeah.
it's like I totally get what you're saying of when the fear of kind of remaining the same and not growing
Yep.
outweighs your fear of being uncomfortable. It's like you have that agreement with yourself of like, and that's something I think you can just come back to every time
Mhm.
that you do feel uncomfortable and you have the self-doubt that, is debilitating and you don't want to try. And it's
Yep.
like, we're coming back to this agreement with ourselves
Yeah.
that we had of this this outweighs that, so we're gonna
Yep.
go anyways.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and people need to keep it simple. Find your
Yeah,
motivators, keep it simple, 3 to 4 things, everything else just clouds it up.
yeah,
And it's not easy, but you have to find time and energy to continue to move forward with your motivators, like you're doing on the
yeah.
wellness front, right? So maybe tell us a little bit about your wellness journey and how you want
Mm.
to evolve with that and how you've invested with that, unless you have any more questions for me.
I mean, I have so many questions for you, but we'll go well over 40 minutes for
we
that.
could do a reverse. We could do another podcast, and it could be
I would
Rory
love
asking.
that.
Okay, we'll do that.
I
That's
would
a
love
great
that.
idea.
Okay, that's a promise. Good. So yeah, I guess my wellness, where I'm taking it, is so fun to explore because to answer your question directly, I don't know yet. And it's kind of, I've gotten more comfortable with, I think, very in black and white. And it's really a daily challenge for me to accept that there's so much gray area in this life, and that's okay. But for starter, I became certified as a health coach a year or two ago. Established like how I want to help people with what I want to offer them, and gathering my clients to see like where kind of they want to take it. It's such a interesting thing because it's, the coaching world is fully client led, client driven, meaning that you're not supposed to come with all the answers because I'm not you, right? It's like I'm just here to act as your support and your space that you can explore and bounce things off freely without feeling like you should have to have answers, right? So it's kind of like a 50-50, like you kind of co-help each other, which is really cool because I learned so much more from my clients than maybe they even learn from me, which is really rewarding. And I teach yoga and Lagree, and I'm seeing how all of these are like settling into each other, and I don't have a clear full idea of like what that looks like yet. I got big ass dreams, but how and when and what exactly they look like, it's like I'm okay with them being a little gray right now and seeing where it goes.
So you have big ass dreams, but you don't know what they are?
I know what they are. I mean, if you could ask me right now, it would be to have a full wellness platform and studios across the country, or even just, smaller scale of like just one, maybe start with one studio but just have something like my why that I've really realized is like, I just want to help people with what I've struggled with by myself for so long, and have them realize that like you can actually do whatever you want to do with your life. I think that at its core has been something that has taken me the last 10 years to fully click and listen to. So it's like, oh, okay, I got it now. I know how I can help people unlock that for them, which has been really like cool to see. But yeah, I guess I don't exactly know how it looks on paper yet.
So what's holding you back from putting your big ass dreams on paper and executing on them?
That's the question of the hour every day for me. I think reality is definitely a valid thing for me right now. We have to be honest with the amount of time that I can give to something while also having this whole other, 9-to-5 life that I have to take seriously and honor that that's where I'm at. But also, vulnerably, truthfully, it's still very much a lot of self-doubt that keeps popping up every now and then, right? And that is a daily, minutely, hourly thing that I've been getting more comfortable with being there, but not letting it drive the ship. Like it's okay. I can hear those. I can hear the self-doubt creep up, pop up. That's fine. But I need to come back to whatever my agreement is with myself of I'm not letting that self-doubt outweigh my big ass dreams, right?
So what if let's pretend the big ass dreams, you develop them, you execute, and your self-doubt becomes reality and it fails. So what happens?
Yeah. So you try something else again.
Or you try harder, or you revamp it, right? But if you never try, you'll fail. You'll never know. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
And I think that I share that feeling of time running out kind of thing that you're talking to, of like, my biggest fear is that I have all of these big dreams and I don't let them out of my head and I don't let them out of my mouth and I don't talk to people about them. Like, and then I just settle into a trajectory that I am not passionate about. So I share that of like feeling, pressured with the time. Something though that one of my friends shared with me that has been such a helpful, I keep reminding myself every day. It's like everyone says how short time is and time goes by so fast. And she has this mentality of time is long. Like our lives are long. You can do so much within the time period that is your life. But if you get suckered into thinking that time is short and it's running out and you have that scarcity mindset with it, it's like, okay, you've signed up to go that route now. Like, why not think that time is long? Lives are long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of have more of a strategic approach to things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. So we're almost at time, but before we kind of wrap up, I just wanted to say, thank you again for joining us
Mm.
with the podcast. If you were to give either someone in high school, a female in high school or college, just graduating college, maybe looking for that new job, possibly frustrated that they can't find the job because the economy isn't the best right now for some of our new graduates, what advice would you give them, and specifically to our women listeners that listen to this podcast?
I would give them the advice to, one, be so clear with the amount of patience you need to give yourself and your path. And I would also say, rather than trying to fit yourself into what you think is out there, maybe take a step back, maybe think, okay, what do I, as myself, enjoy? And try to approach a career more from that lens. Like, it doesn't have to be what, again, you think it should look like, what already is out there. You could maybe, discover something so different just by getting there, thinking a little bit differently about what maybe it looks like and how you kind of get there, rather than, going on LinkedIn and seeing there's only these jobs that are listed.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, maybe you want to get there a different way.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, Rory, it's been an awesome conversation, and it sounds like our part 2 is you interviewing me, so I can't wait.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be so fun.
And I'm pretty sure you're not going to send me the list of questions ahead of time, so it'll be interesting.
I'll try, but I don't even think I think we just have fun talking, so
yeah, exactly.
We're just going to see where it goes.
And we love to hear, hopefully you continue upon your journey, and of course, as you continue and evolve, we love to continue to have an update on how that's going. So thanks again. Once again, this is the Root to Rising podcast. This is Christine Hummel. Happy New Year, and looking forward to the rest of 2026 with our great listeners. Thank you.